Well, brothers and sisters, it gives me a great pleasure to introduce a dear brother, a third-generation mine worker, a gentleman who served 14 years as the General Secretary Treasurer of the National AFL-CIO, and just a few short years ago was elected president. A leader who has our back, has our pulse, and most importantly has the passion to take on a corporate America that wants to try to say we're extinct. Brothers and sisters, Richard Trumka is here in Massachusetts because he recognizes the fight is here in Massachusetts. Let's give him a nice warm welcome, Brother Richard Trumka.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, let me start off by paying my respects to a couple of leaders who really built the foundation that all of us stand on, who I consider not only friends and colleagues and brothers, but I consider among the best leaders that I've ever seen. Let's hear it for Arthur and for Joe and for Bob. And I want to thank IBEW Local 103 for the hospitality. Thank you, brothers and sisters. And I want to thank you, Steve, for your kind introduction. And I want to thank you and Lou and Ed and Chuck for inviting me here to Boston. I got to tell you, I'm honored to be here. And I'm proud to be campaigning with you to build power for working people and to make Elizabeth Warren our next senator from this state. And Steve, I want to say this to you personally. I want to thank you for your leadership. I want to thank you for being tough. I want to thank you for being compassionate. I want to thank you for being unapologetic and always, and I mean always, working for fairness, for working people. Steve, my brother, you understand that all work has dignity and all work matters, and I want to say thank you from the bottom of all of our hearts. Now, in our world today, far too many elites, people like Mitt Romney, think that half the nation just doesn't matter anymore. We've heard what they say behind closed doors, and people like Mitt think that people who work way too hard for way too little just don't matter too much anymore. Well, let me tell you something. All of us matter. Each and every one of us matter. All of us. And let me tell you something about that 47% that Mitt Romney says he's not going to concern himself with. One, they include active duty servicemen and servicewomen. Seniors that are checking their bank accounts day to day, living on Social Security. Jobless moms and jobless dads doing all they can to keep their family afloat. Students working and scraping just to get by. You see, in this world today, some people say that working people are greedy, or wanting a decent life and a secure retirement. Jobless workers are blamed for being fired. Homeless families are blamed for the foreclosure crisis. All while out of control corporations and millionaires and billionaires are applauded and thanked and appreciated for always wanting more, for not being satisfied with world record profits and the lowest tax rates since World War II. Let me tell you, brothers and sisters, in today's crazy world, we need more working people willing to stand up and say, let's take our country back. We've had enough of this. We need more people, working people, who will stand out and speak out for candidates who will make a difference, because elections matter. And we may not have as much money as Mitt Romney and his friends, but the ballot box doesn't care. Democracy is better than that. Our forefathers had a plan to fix that. We all have one vote on election day, the same as billionaires, and we're going to cast those votes together to elect Elizabeth Warren as the next senator of this great state. You see, we're doing the hard work of reclaiming our country right now so that all of us can have a better chance. And I want to thank you for it. See, my friends, the New England labor movement is tough, and you're resourceful. And I got to tell you, you're first class all the way, each and every one of you. Right down to your core, and I'm glad that you do what you do. And I'm glad you are what you are. And I want to salute you. And I want to bring you a salute from all of your brothers and sisters all across this great country, because we owe you. You see, times are changing though. They're changing here in the Northeast. They're changing in New England. They're changing right here in Massachusetts. Not too long ago, Democrats won majorities comfortably. Working people only had to show up at a few rallies and hold up a few signs and get to the polls. Not long ago, it didn't hurt so badly when Republicans won some races because, hey, they differed one from the next, and most of them held some respect for working people. That's not the case anymore. And that's a problem. Listen, I have nothing against Republicans. For years and years, we've been able to work with members from both parties, but not anymore. The Republican who's running for governor of New Hampshire has promised to sign a right to work for less law on his first day in office. If you have members in New Hampshire, reach out to them about our candidate for governor, Maggie Hassan. We've got politicians who used to be okay, who have literally been pushed out of their own party. And other politicians like Scott Brown have changed their colors to blend in with the right-wing foliage in Washington, D.C. You see, we have a problem in Massachusetts. We have a problem in New England. We have a problem because some working people in Massachusetts have stood silently on the sidelines while Elizabeth Warren has campaigned hard to represent the Bay State. Campaigned hard. We have a problem because some voters, and let me be perfectly honest, I'm talking about voters who look just like me. Well, maybe not as heavy, but just like me. They've not stood with Elizabeth Warren to support her. Listen to me closely. I've said this before, that there are dozens of good reasons to vote for Barack Obama, and only one bad reason not to, and that's because he's black. Now hear me about Elizabeth Warren. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of good reasons for us to vote for her. But it's crazy not to vote for her because she's a woman, or because she's a college professor, or for any other superficial reason that you've been fed. See, the other bad reason to vote against her is because Scott Brown comes across like a guy that some of you supported years ago.